tapping into the true potential of the human spirit. This is Humanity Empowered. This is the Implicit Show. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Implicit Show. My name is Bren Dubé. I'm your guest, and I want to thank you. I gotta thank you so much for tuning in today. Let me tell you, today's topic is going to be fun. We're talking about 6 habits that prevent mastery. And before we get into it too much, I would love to get some people in here on the call. Check this out, guys. I'm really challenging myself today. I am streaming live to Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch. I'm streaming to so many platforms right now. It's crazy. So make sure to leave your comments in the comment section. I can totally see everything that's going on, and we'll get right into this soon. So make sure you click the share button to get some people in here so that we could get the conversation going. I'm pretty excited about this one. Okay. Anyways, today's gonna be 6 habits that prevent mastery. Now, this topic, a lot of this is coming directly out of my book that I wrote called Achieving Mastery. And so I really wanted to make sure to get you guys this information, because this is, let me tell you, I have fallen into the trap. I've fallen into the trap of all 6 of these habits. And I don't want you guys to fall into the trap either. I mean, I think a lot of these habits that I'm going to talk about are something that most people deal with. So, you could relate on so many different levels, whether you're struggling so much, whether you can't seem to get yourself out of bed in the morning, you can't seem to get yourself to go after anything or to master anything, whether that's where you're at, or whether you're, finally making it happen, whether you're actually on a roll, whether you're, building that skill, you're getting better, you're getting stronger every day. No matter what, no matter which one of those scenarios works better for you, these are 6 habits that are pretty universal to everybody, and we all kind of fall into these traps. So before I get into it, I'd love to get some people in the comment section. If you're in the comments on Instagram, Periscope, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, let's get the conversation going here. And I'm going to dive right into kind of how I discovered these 6 habits. And like I alluded to a little bit earlier, what's up? We got Jacob Postma. How's it going, man? Good to see you. Yeah, like I alluded to earlier, I've myself fallen into the trap of all of these. And most people, I think, do. But I don't want you guys to go through it. And that's why I'm going to bring this up. That's why I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about my own personal experience, because, again, nobody's perfect. Especially not me. The only reason I think I get on the podcast to talk about all these different things in life is because this is things that I'm learning personally. And if I could learn things and I could pass it on to you guys and, extend that learning, because just like what people have done for me, all the books I've read, all the videos I've watched, all the podcasts I've listened to, these are people who have lived life experiences and then they passed it on to somebody else. It's just beautiful how that happens. It blows my mind sometimes. You learn best by teaching others. That's a beautiful comment. We got a comment on Periscope. I like that a lot. And that, again, I love sharing these things because it helps me. Like, I grow, I get better, I learn more. So anyways, let's get right into these 6 habits that are preventing mastery. So the first one I think is really simple, but before I say anything about the first one, I really want to mention, like, mastery. What is mastery really? It's about mastering a skill. It's about constant, never-ending improvement. It's about mastering a certain area of your life, whether it be, it be your health, your finances, your spirituality, your relationships, whatever it is. It's something you can master, whether it be guitar or hockey, a sport or something. I mean, we got a comment on Periscope asking, how did I get on my journey of personal development? And seriously, it's pain. Like, pain drove me to do all these things. I grew up basically not liking my house. I didn't like my family all that much. I didn't like my school. I didn't like the people around me. I didn't like my town. I had so many things that I didn't like. I was in resistance to everything. And so when I finally stopped being in resistance and I started just kind of accepting things for the way they are and deciding to do whatever I can to make a change. So that's what we're talking about today. Anyways, like, regret is the worst. Like, you guys do not want to regret anything, and that's why we're bringing up these topics now, because all 6 of these topics, if you end up at the end of your life, okay, you're on your deathbed, you don't want to be sitting there saying, I wish I would have, I could have, I should have, I wish I only had, if I would have just done this, if I would have just said that or that moment, if I would have just committed. You don't want those kind of regrets. Seriously, if you go and hang out with people who are on their deathbed, That's one of the number one things that you'll hear from them is, I wish, I could have, what if, you don't want any what ifs. And so these 6 habits are going to things that you could avoid today so that you don't ever have those what if feelings or thoughts. And the first one, guys, is something that I think a lot of us are trapped in this. And I think a big part of it is because of school. School conditions us in a way to live this way. And that is the jack of all trades mentality. Do you know what I mean by that? Where you're just like, you want to be good at everything. You want to take on everything. You just want to be the best I want to be the best at sports, music, politics, being a doctor, all these things. You just want everything, right? It doesn't really make sense. We got a comment says, can you pause the deep, meaningful conversation and play the violin? No, this is important. Another time. Anyways, you don't want to be the jack of all trades, right? Because look, I'm not that great at the violin. I'm really not. For me personally, my instrument's the guitar. And I've decided that I'm going to master the guitar, just the guitar. Instead of being, I'm going to play the guitar, I'm going to play the drums, I'm going to play the violin, I'm going to play the trombone, I'm going to play the keyboard, and I'm going to master all of these instruments, and I'm going to sing, and I'm going to write books, and I'm going to speak, and I'm going to be an author, and all these things, right? It's just kind of ridiculous. It kind of gets out of hand. And so, I mean, not to say that you can't do all those things, but you got to pick one at once. You got to pick one at a time, master it, then move on to the next thing. And so the jack of all trades mentality is huge. And I'll tell you a story about me personally. Actually, when I started this company, when I started my company Implicit, I started it with some amazing people, and we basically we started like 10 companies in one. We got together and we kept meeting every week, and we kept having new ideas, and we just said, well, let's do this too. Let's get into the health business. Let's get into the film business. Let's get into the photography business. Let's get into the music business. Let's get into this business, that business. And at the end of the day, we were mediocre at everything, right? We didn't have a great film business. We didn't have a great music business. We didn't have a great personal development business. We didn't have any of those things. None of those things were great. None of those things were at a mastery level. We were just mediocre at everything. And recently, we had to make a tough decision. We had to make the decision that, okay, we're going to cut everything down to just Implicit. Instead of having Implicit Records, Implicit Empowerment, Implicit Visuals, Implicit Events, Implicit this, Implicit Entertainment, we're just going to cut it all down to Implicit, the one thing that matters most. And we're going to focus on that brand and focus on empowering people through that. I mean, does it matter if we're doing music? Does it matter if we're doing personal development? Does it matter if we're doing film? To me, not so much. What matters to me is the outcome. And the outcome is you empower people. So yeah, Implicit is the name of my company. It's the name of this podcast. It's the Implicit Show, in case you didn't know. But anyways, that's the first thing, guys. Don't fall into the jack of all trades mentality. Pick one thing, guys, and go all in on that. The next thing that I would say, the second thing that really prevents people from mastery, this habit is another thing that I've fallen into, especially when I was like when I was like a teen, and that is the know-it-all syndrome. And I find a lot of the kids I went to school with anyways in high school had this whole know-it-all syndrome thing. What's the know-it-all syndrome? You probably know somebody who has the know-it-all syndrome, right? They believe they know it all. You can't tell them anything new. You can't share any new information. You can't teach them something. You can't share. You can't even talk about yourself half the time because all they care about is themselves and what they know. They got the know-it-all disease. You know what I mean? And I've been there personally. I'll tell you, I seriously would just get into debates with friends who I really cared about things that I didn't know anything about. I remember me and my good friend Grace, we used to get into all these cannabis arguments, right? Because I was super anti-cannabis. I had basically absorbed all the propaganda from all the, everything that they tell you, pot's gonna make you go crazy, weed's so bad, it kills people, it makes them kill people, and I fell for it all. And we used to have debates, so many debates about, is this the right thing to do? Is it actually going to kill you? Is it helpful? Can you use it for medicinal purposes? Should people use it for, just for fun? And I would always engage in these debates, even though I knew absolutely nothing about cannabis. I really didn't know anything about it. I thought I knew about cannabis. I was the know-it-all, right? I basically just accepted what everybody else told me, and that was my result. I just accepted that and just went along with that. And as a result, it sucked. I never really got through. I mean, you know what? Grace like totally just chomped me in all those debates. I got destroyed because I didn't know what I was talking about. I was a know-it-all. You know what I mean? I get on this podcast sometimes I get carried away. Honestly, sometimes it's just like talking. You need to do this. You need to do that. You got to go live. You got to live your life. And really, this is all, a lot of that is me just talking to myself. And just like, I'm talking to cameras right now. You guys are there. You guys are commenting. You guys are in it. You guys are part of the conversation. But a lot of the things I say, I do, and I teach, I do this for my own, so I could learn. You know, I need to learn. These are things that I need to improve on and I need to grow. And so that's why I go for that all the time. So that's a know-it-all syndrome, guys. Don't get caught up in that. Realize that there is no one opinion that matters more than another opinion. There is no one truth, right? Look at religion, right? There's so many religions, and there are millions and millions of people claiming that this is the truth. Is there really a truth? Or is the truth just what you decide for yourself? So anyways, if you guys have any questions, throw them at me. I'm answering questions. I'm talking about things. I'm getting pumped up. Anyways, the third habit that destroys mastery, that prevents you from mastery, is multitasking. And I know you're probably thinking, multitasking? I love multitasking. It's so much fun. And the truth is, multitasking kind of destroys your productivity. You can't do two things at once. In fact, it's hilarious because I'm multitasking right now. I'm live on Periscope. I'm live on Instagram. I'm live on Facebook. I'm live on YouTube. I'm live on Twitch. I'm live on all these platforms. I'm reading all your comments. I'm trying to think, and you guys are getting me distracted, right? It's funny how that works, how multitasking works. And this isn't just coming from you guys. This is science. Science says multitasking is bull. Like, it doesn't work. You never multitask. What you do is you focus on one task for a short amount of time, and then you quickly switch to another task. And then you switch back to that task. And then you go back to the other task. Do you know what I mean? You're just constantly juggling tasks, not multitasking. You're going back and forth. And what that does is every time you switch a task, I'm kind of alluding to the next thing here, but before I allude to the next thing, I want to let you know that multitasking is not going to work. So try to focus on one thing at a time. The best way to do it is, I find for me personally, like, I'll be sitting here on my computer and I'm on social media, I'm replying to messages, and I'm writing a book, and I'm taking notes, and I'm watching a video, and I'm listening to music, and I'm doing all these things at once, and I get so overwhelmed, nothing gets done. I get so overwhelmed that it just becomes like I'm wasting my time. And so what I found is super productive for me personally, and especially if you're a creative type. Like, if you're creative, you like to write, you like to do art, you like to play music, whatever. If you're a creative type and you're creating something, you want to work in chunks, like big chunks, 2, 3, 4, 5 hour chunks of time, because you can't work for 10 minutes, 5 minutes and expect to get somewhere, especially if you're trying to create something. So creative work comes from a big chunk of uninterrupted time, not multitasking, not I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go here and there and there. No, one big chunk. And focus on that chunk. And once that chunk's done, you're going to feel really good about yourself. And then you can go on a multitask if you want to, but make sure you get that chunk down, because that is so important. And I alluded to this already, but the fourth habit that eliminates mastery, that prevents all kinds of mastery, guys, is task switching. You know, going from this task to that task, to that task, to that task, to that task, to that task. And the thing about task switching is, like I already alluded to, you lose energy every time you change your mind. Every time you shift your mind from, I'm going to look at this and I'm going to think about this, to I'm going to move over here, to I'm going to try this, to I'm going to go there. Every single time you lose energy. It's seriously. We got a question. What about grouping tasks? Grouping tasks, it totally depends. You know, some things just work. Like, for me personally, I love to listen to audio tapes while I'm doing the dishes, or while I'm cleaning my house, or while I'm doing something. So I'm listening to an audio program, I'm learning, I'm actively engaging here, but out there, I'm using my body for something else. So there's definitely ways around this, but what I really mean is, like, okay, I'm focused on writing a book right now, and then I'm going to stop writing this book, and I'm going to pick up this guitar and I'm going to write a song, and I'm going to stop writing this song, and I'm going to pick up my phone, and I'm going to start going on social media. I'm going to stop going on social media, and I'm going to get up and do some jumping jacks. All of this within a 2-minute span. Like, it just doesn't work, guys. You're not going to get anywhere. And again, back to what we said, multitasking. If you pick one task and you attack it in a big chunk, you'll be way better off. Yes, totally. And yeah, totally. Get in a different state of mind and you'll be good. Hey, we got Harley in here. Harley, my man, what's up? Good to see you, buddy. Amelia Armstrong's in here too. Awesome, cool, fun. So we're just talking about the 6 habits that prevent mastery. Let me give you a quick recap of the last 4 we just talked about. So the first one we talked about is the jack of all trades mentality, right? Trying to do everything, trying to be the best at everything instead of just choosing one thing and going all in on that until you succeed. The second one's the know-it-all syndrome. Okay, thinking that you know it all, you've got all the information, you don't need to learn, you don't need to practice, you don't need to grow, you already know it all, you've already got it down. That mentality destroys mastery. The next one's multitasking. Okay, trying to do so many things at once, and then as a result, never getting anything really done. The next is task switching, right? Like instead of choosing one thing to do in a big chunk of time, you're taking that big chunk of time and you're fitting 100 tasks into it, right? And I get caught in this, I got the to-do list and I'm writing like, oh, here's my to-do list for the day. And it's like, it basically sounds impossible. Like, how are you going to do all these freaking things in one day? It's ridiculous. But anyways, let's move on to the 5th thing that prevents mastery, and that's distractions, guys. Distractions. A couple episodes ago, I talked about the master versus the dabbler, and really the dabbler is a combination of all these habits, right? The dabbler is, I know it all, I'm good at everything, I could do it all at once, I don't need your advice, all that stuff, right? But the worst thing about the dabbler is like the distraction, like there's no focus there, and I think most people today are suffering from this. Most people. Why? Because think about it. There's so much information being shoved in our face all day. You got your TV ads. Oh, aside from your TV ads, you've got the news. Aside from the news, you've got your family. Aside from your family, you got your neighbor. Aside from the neighbor, you got your dog. Aside from your dog, you got your best friend. Everybody wants a piece of you. And that's the thing, is you can only give so much. You only have so much to give, right? And so that's why you got to focus on yourself. And what focus on yourself, I think, means is focusing on what's going to bring you more energy, what's going to bring you more joy, right? And so many things, like I get distracted. Like one thing I want to mention in this episode, and something I want to help share, like hopefully this helps you, is realize that I'm not perfect. I'm not coming on here claiming I'm perfect. I'm not saying like I'm the best at all these things. I'm really not. I'm just saying like this is what I've experienced. This is what my research and my experience has shown me. Like these are the things that destroy your mastery. Anyways, we got a comment here from Amelia. She says, my taxes are due in 2 weeks. That's my task to finish so I can move on and pull all my energy into the next task. That's a great idea, Amelia. Like that's the thing. Another thing about multitasking or taking on too many tasks is like, oh yeah, I'm trying to do all these things at once. Maybe I got multiple projects on the go at once. Like for me personally, guys, I'm writing a book every single month for the next year. I'm also working on a record and a book that goes along with the record, so make that 13 books in the year. And then at the end of the year, there's another book, so that's gonna be 14 books probably, and then probably a journal, so that's like 15 books. And aside from that, I'm still trying to book shows. I'm still trying to, run my social media. I'm still hosting the show 5 days a week. I'm still, so many things. And what I find for myself personally is like, if I've got too many things like that going on at once, none of it gets done, right? I just check out, right? Don't you ever get that? You're so distracted. You've got so many things on your mind. You just check out. It's like I could do one thing and I could focus on it and get it done, but there's too many things to focus on, so it's too difficult to focus. So I just check out. And I find a lot of us do that. And so it's important to focus on just one thing. Like, take it easy, man. Take it easy. Okay. So we were talking about distractions. It's interesting because like 10, 20 years ago, we didn't have the kind of information coming at us. And it's funny, this whole information age people have been talking about this for decades, oh, information's coming at us so fast. Everything's changing so quick. Like, think about how quick things changed in the past 5 years. Like with the whole, live video revolution that we've got. The thing I'm doing right now, I'm live on so many platforms. I'm live to the freaking world, to the internet, on all these different platforms. Like what? Periscope, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. That's 5. I'm live on the internet in 5 places, sitting in my living room. Like, the things that are happening right now are amazing, and anybody could do this. Anybody could come at you and bring you information. Anybody could teach you. Anybody could share with you. Anybody can entertain you. And that's the thing that you have to be aware of, is because let me know. How did you find this episode? How did you find this? Were you procrastinating? Were you scrolling through your feed? Were you just screwing around? Like, Were you looking for distraction and you found it, right? How did you find this episode? And that's the thing, is so many people are so distracted from that. So more information is more distraction. Focused and specialization is what is required. That's a great comment there coming in from Periscope. It's true. You really need to realize that, all this distraction is not really going to bring you lasting fulfillment at the end of the day. And that's what we're looking for, right? Lasting fulfillment, where we want to feel like our life has meaning. We want to feel like we're worth something. We want to feel like we're worthy of love. We want to feel like we're contributing to the planet. Well, distraction won't get you there. Will never get you there. What will get you there is achieving mastery. What will get you there is finding something that you could do and that you could excel at and that you could bring to other people and that you could teach and that you could share and that you could do for yourself so that it brings you joy. That's what will actually bring you lasting fulfillment. That's the thing, is so many people are looking for the quick fix. They're looking for the instant gratification, the chocolate, the candy, the cigarette, the alcohol, the TV, the social media. They're just looking for this one thing to distract them from what it is they're after. And the thing about it is, it's never going to get you the pleasure that you're really looking for. Just doing the thing that you're avoiding is going to bring you the pleasure you're looking for. Like, have you ever actually, we had a comment here. Sometimes I'm perplexed by all the kinds of interests I have. Look, I get you, dude. I get you. I've got so many interests. It's ridiculous. I can't, for me personally, I had to write a book on achieving mastery because I need to achieve mastery myself. That's why I wrote the book, because I need it. I know other people need it too, but more than them, I need this book more than them. I need to know I need to commit to mastery myself. And what that means, guys, is you really need to pick one thing, just one. I know you want to pick 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pick one and focus on that one thing. And then once that's done, then you can move on to the next thing. You could go and pursue your other interests, but make sure you focus on the one thing. And another thing about your interests is you don't necessarily have to master everything. That's key, guys. You don't have to master everything. You don't have to be the best at everything. You don't. You really don't. For me personally, I love music. I want to become a master in music. I want to master music. I want to master music production. I want to master songwriting. I want to master performing for people. I want to master, speaking and writing. These are things I want to master. But you know what I love? You know what I'm really interested in? Skateboarding. I love skateboarding. Am I a great skateboarder? No. Am I going to master skateboarding someday? No, it's like, I love it. I'm really interested in it, but it's not something, I don't have to be a professional at it to enjoy it. Do you know? I love paintballing. I would love to go out and shoot paintballs. Like, I don't have to be a master at it to enjoy it. I love long walks on the beach. I don't have to master it to enjoy it. And so realize that you don't always have to monetize or create a business or always do what it is you're passionate about. You could have multiple interests, but choose mastery. Choose one thing for mastery, and then the rest of those things, say, okay, I will skateboard when I'm done practicing my guitar, because my guitar is what really matters to me right now. Not the other things, not the video games, not the TV, not the chocolate, right? It's this guitar or whatever it is for you. So focus on that. So we're faced with one of the biggest challenges we have yet, the ability to focus, right? With today's diversity in technology, knowledge, and possibility, it's easy for us to get distracted and our attention spans are shrinking. So that line, that's directly from the book, guys. Like, our attention spans are freaking shrinking, and we got to get on top of that. And finally, the last, if you guys have any questions, let me know, because this is the last one, the 6th habit that prevents mastery. And it's simple, guys. It's decision making decisions. And you might be thinking like, well, I gotta make decisions. Decisions are important. Yes, but are you making the right decisions? Right? Think about it. Every time we make a decision, it uses energy. It uses energy in our brain, it uses energy in our nervous system. It's difficult to make decisions, right? You have to use your willpower. You have to use your strength. You have to stretch your mind. You have to ask yourself questions. You have to contemplate. It's not easy making decisions. And especially, in the morning, it's easy to make decisions, but by the end of the day, we've made so many decisions, we're worn out. And it's so much easier to lose willpower, to make bad decisions, or to follow temptation, because we've been making decisions all day. And what I mean by this, take the example of Steve Jobs. If not Steve Jobs, take the example of like Mark Zuckerberg. There's so many highly successful people who are running the world, through technology, who pretty much wear the same thing every day. Like they wear the same outfit. I mean, there's a story about Steve Jobs who he went into the Steve Jobs Apple offices, and if you go into the Apple store, you'll see everything's painted white. Everything is clear. Everything is white. Like there's no distractions. There's no decisions. You don't have anything to look at. You are focused, right? And I've been trying to implement this into my own life. I mean, I watched a documentary recently called Minimalism, or The Minimalist. I forget. It's on Netflix. I highly recommend it. It completely changed the way I see possessions, completely changed the way I see the material world. And really what this movie is about these two people who were living really great lives, according to society. They were high on the corporate ladder. They were making tons of money. But deep down they were miserable. They had the cars, they had the nice house, they had everything, they had all the furniture, they had the credit cards, they had whatever they needed, they had whatever they wanted, but they were miserable, right? And so what they found out was that by eliminating all of these distractions, eliminating all of these cars, these books, these shelves, these material objects all around you, by eliminating all of that stuff, you can create a new level of like joy. I mean, I watched the documentary, I saw these people and they're getting rid of all their stuff and they're living with, very few objects, like maybe a bag full of a few clothes, a laptop, some toiletries, whatever you need, right? And they're traveling the world and loving it, like being happier than they've ever been before. And I've thought, man, like that's kind of crazy. Like I got to try this for myself. What I started to do in my life was I started to get rid of things. Hey, it's Christmas time, so you know what? I got rid of all my CDs. I gave away all my CDs to friends and to family. I gave away a bunch of my books. I gave away a bunch of like toys and like dishes and clothes and all sorts of random stuff that I had just been holding on to for no real reason. And I just gave it all away. And I noticed, it feels like a weight off my shoulder. Every time I get rid of something in my house, it's like a weight off my shoulder. And I still got a lot of things and there's still some weight, but this isn't just in terms of material objects, guys, but this is also in terms of what your goals are. I had a goal list of like 100+ goals, and it was daunting to me. I didn't even want to look at it. I had so many goals, I didn't even want to look at it. And you're supposed to review your goals like every day, every week. And I wouldn't even go and look at my goals because I thought, wow, like that's too much. There's too much going on there. Overwhelming. Just, no. And eventually, the other day I said, you know what? I can't keep living like this. I really can't, man. So what I did was I went through all my goals and I picked 10. I picked 10 goals that I wanted to have, that I wanted to keep, the 10 that really mattered to me, the 10 that if I achieved these, I'd be happy, none of them else would matter. And I focused on just those 10. And now I'm excited about my life again. Like I'm excited about my goals. Seriously, it's ridiculous because I get on this podcast and I share about my excitement, all these things. But sometimes when I look at my goals, I'm not that excited. But because I had so many and it was so overwhelming, I was able to trim it down and make less decisions, think less, and do more. This is really about thinking less and doing more, right? If you have less to think about, less decisions to make, less clothes, like I've got less clothes in my closet. Like if I need clothes, it's literally just a matter of like, okay, this shirt, this shirt, this shirt, or this shirt. I got 4 choices. I don't have 20 choices. I got 4 choices. And if I could pick one of those, then I'm good. It makes things so much quicker, so much easier. It saves up your brain power. And let me leave you with one more thing that is so huge that so many of us get caught up in. And guys, I'm a huge, I mess this up all the time. And that is social media. Like you're on social media right now. I'm sure you're like, oh, but social media is fun, but I'm on social media, it's cool. But when it comes to decision making, it destroys it, guys. Every time you're scrolling through your newsfeed, like just scroll. Every time you do that, you're making a decision. Every time you see a post, you see a name, you see a question, you see a picture, you see a video, your brain is asking itself, should I focus on this or should I not? Is this worth my time or is it not? Should I comment on it? No. Should I share it? No. Should I like it? No. What would I say? No. Should I message this person? Yes or no? All these questions, think about it. If you're scrolling through your Facebook feed, your Instagram feed, Twitter feed, and you're going through here and you're looking at hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of posts in a day, think of how much that would destroy your decision-making muscle, because you're constantly making decisions. You're wearing it out. And so now when it comes to discipline yourself, when it comes to get yourself out of bed at a certain time in the morning, when it comes to get yourself to practice that instrument, when it gets yourself to go to the gym, you've already depleted all your willpower. You're already tired. You're already sick of it. You like, oh man, like this happens for me in the area of food. Like I eat a really healthy diet by my standards. I eat all plant-based, mostly raw foods, mostly raw. Like maybe if I'm eating cooked foods, maybe it's a potato or something, but raw foods, you know, smoothies, lots of protein, lots of everything you need. And it's funny because I've got the choice. I could have a really healthy smoothie, or I could have like a really greasy poutine or something. And what happens, and I know for myself personally, if I worked a lot that day, if I made a lot of decisions that day, if I were like, you know, focusing, like working, you know, scrolling through my feed, whatever it is, making decisions, it's so much easier for me to give up and to go for the temptation, which is the greasy poutine, over the healthy meal, right? So that's that, guys. If you have any more questions on this, feel free to message me. I'd love to know what you guys think. I'd love to get your opinions. I'd love to get your questions so that we could dive a little bit deeper on this topic. If you want to get the book that I wrote, Achieving Mastery, which goes into detail about these 6 habits, and it goes into detail more than just these 6 habits. It talks about how to achieve mastery. It talks about how to discover who you are, how to follow your path. It talks about obsessiveness. It gives you a bunch of tools and strategies. So many things in this book. I'm super happy to give it to you guys. It's free right now. It's free for like 2 or 3 more days. So it's free till Friday. But I want to make sure you guys get that. It's a short read too. You know, you could read it in an hour. It's only worth an hour of your time. And it also comes along with a 21-day challenge. So for 21 days, you know, I want to help you build a habit. I want to help, you know, rather than just give you a book and say, read this and go change your life, go do something about it. I want to take you along the journey with me, and I want to help you kind of put, you know, along the way, step by step, because I wish I had somebody to do that for me, man. I wish I had somebody who would say, hey, step by step, man, this is what you do. Follow me. Let's go. Let's do it. I sure wish I did, because for me personally, it was like a mess of like, oh, I'm watching this video, I'm reading this book, I'm trying this thing, I'm over here, and it's all over the place. It just wasn't focused, and I wasn't making the progress at the speed or at the rate that I really wanted to. So that's my personal experience. Anyways, message me if you want to get that book. You can leave a review on iTunes too if you really want to support the show, help more people get this. I'm happy about today, guys. We experimented. This is hilarious, actually. I'm live on Periscope, live on Instagram. This is new. Live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Pretty pumped about all that. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna have to end this. I'm gonna have to say thank you. Show me your peace sign. Show me your peace sign. Peace, guys. Love ya.